Today, I'm sharing a type of gel printing I think everyone should be doing. This one is for anyone who has failed at using their gel plate or who never seems to have the right papers, or those who simply want to step away and spend some beautiful quiet time alone with their paints. I'll even give you a solution for the age old problem of where to store all the papers. I'm Jackie Bernardi, and welcome to my studio. I mean, my kitchen. Today, everything's going to look a little different because I'm working in my kitchen instead of my studio. What we're going to do is not only going to help you develop a large quantity of papers that you can use in your mixed media and collage art, but this exercise is also going to develop really important skills like the nuances of working with a gel plate and color mixing exploration and problem solving. And so all I'm doing here is getting started by putting some Titan Buff fluid acrylic down on the gel plate. Now that's what I'm using. You could use whatever paint you want, whatever color you want. Today's exercise is not about my color choices, but it is about the activity. So what I'm doing is just putting down an initial layer of paint on the gel plate and then pulling it. This is a sheet of 12 by 18 newsprint, and newsprint could not be cheaper. It is not archival. If that's something you're concerned with and want to do this exercise, then you can do it on archival paper. I choose not to, and I'm okay with that decision. What I am doing is going to be making a series of painted papers that are solid color papers. Now, before you run away, stick with me because there's a number of things that I'm going to teach you by doing this exercise. And also, there's some really important tips strewn throughout, and maybe the most important one is near the end. So, all I'm going to do is color mix on the gel plate. And with each color that I put down, I'm going to make it lighter or darker or blend it with another color. And I'm going to keep going. So I started off with that Titan Buff, and then I added a little bit of the nickel azo yellow, and that's what you're seeing here. The Titan Buff on one side, the lightened nickel azo yellow on the other side. And the exercise here is to take that nickel azo yellow and take it all the way from a very light mix with the Titan Buff up to a very dark mix with the Titan Buff. And then, of course, just the nickel azo yellow by itself at the end, so that I have a full range of this particular mix of yellow. Now, why would I want to do this? I would want to do this because, and this is one of the most important things about gel plate printing for collage that no one talks about, and that is you not only want to have your beautiful gel printed papers with lots of layers and botanical prints and all these things, those are gorgeous and lovely. But if you're going to use these papers for collage, you must have plain colored papers, meaning no distraction of prints that have all these ornate things in them, or stencils, or patterns, or shapes. You need to have some papers, colored papers, that you can put in that will give your collage a place for your eyes to rest. Also, it can help break up really complex patterns and create a lovely contrast. What I see happening a lot is people falling in love with gel printing so that they can do all the really cool things, so that they can do the image transfers or do a gorgeous outlined botanical print. That's fun and that's exciting. But then when you sit down to do a collage with these papers, you're into your collage, you've got glue all over your fingers or medium all over your fingers, and all of a sudden you realize you don't have anything to take that particular collage forward. So, this is the giant 10,000-foot overview of what's happening today. We are very functionally going to create a series of colored papers for you to keep in your studio or in your file system, wherever you want to keep them. and that you will have on hand when you are working. Now, earlier this week, I did a workshop inside my community. And in that workshop, what we did were different types of color studies. What I'm doing today is actually also a color study. We didn't cover this in the workshop, but this is a color study of solid colors, and I'm using the gel plate to make these colors. Now, if you don't have a gel plate and you're still watching, thank you so much because that's amazing. But if you don't have a gel plate, you can still do this exercise and you should do this exercise. Not only will you get a feeling for balance of color, strength of pigment for your paints, you'll also get a feeling for exactly what you need to do to create the colors that you want in a piece later on. In the moment, you will pull prints like this one. This is a gorgeous orange print, right? And what you're seeing here is me time lapsing because I mixed that Nicolazzo yellow in with this Pyrrole orange many times over. And instead of showing you the same mixing and the same pulling every single minute, I wanted to take a time lapse so that you could see where we're going with all of this. So this doesn't have to be a 2-hour video, right? So anyway, what I was saying is that when you have these colors, these pages and pages of colored papers, you have instant inspiration. Some people buy color cubes, some people buy color decks. I'm telling you, you can make your own color inspiration by taking the very paints that you already own and start mixing them together and pulling gel prints or painting on papers with these colors just solidly so that you always have solid color papers on hand. Now, if you haven't been using your gel plate or you have a brand new gel plate and not really sure how to use it, I do have a completely free course inside my free resources community where I teach you every single aspect of using a gel plate, how to take care of it, what to do with it the first day you have it, and so on. And you can get that by clicking on the link in the description. And that way you can join us in this as we just different shades, different tints of these colors so that one, we know what we have in our inventory. Two, we know how to make that specific color if we need to make it later on. Or we can pull these papers out of the file cabinet or off the wall and use them directly in collage. So this here is the Pyrrole orange mixed with an itty bitty little bit of the Nickel Azo yellow and the Titan buff. And look at those gorgeous colors. Maybe I'm working on a collage and the element that I'm working on is that lighter orange, that creamsicle color. And I want to have a little shading in that. I instantly have, because I tinted up and made that creamsicle orange a little bit darker, I have instant shading. Does that make sense? I really hope so because what I want to convey here is the importance of always having colors that you can manipulate later. When you make these gorgeous gel printed papers that you do, the ones that have patterns and shapes, you're kind of stuck with those patterns and shapes in your collage. You need to make those things work. These solid pieces of paper, these colors, not only give you a lot of latitude in your creating, but they're teaching you things. So on the side here, I have a larger gel plate. If you do not have two gel plates, just use a plain piece of paper on the other side, and I'll have another recommendation later. But I'm using that other gel plate for my roll-off sheet. I'm taking the paint that's on my brayer, and I'm rolling it off on that because what I know is I can pull a print from that gel plate when I'm done with these colors, and I will have a whole gel print of the entire color study that I've just done with solid colors only. right? And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm putting down a final layer of just plain Titan buff. And right now I'm loving it for using it as my white instead of like titanium white. Now, as I said before, you do not have to use a second gel plate. I have it, so I'm using it, and I can create more possibilities for myself. But if you don't have a second gel plate, you can use a piece of paper or do what I'm about to do here and use a book, an old book that's bound, right? So here I've put down some primary cyan, and I'm mixing it with the Titan buff. The Titan buff is the constant today. I'm using it in almost all of the prints that I'm pulling, and I'm loving this color. I mean, I think this is Tiffany blue, or it's pretty darn close to Tiffany blue, and it was just the cyan blue with the Titan buff. And I'm using the book pages to roll off my brayer. Now, one, it cleans my brayer, but two, it gives me more possibilities to use in collage. I'll talk a little bit about that more later. But right now, I want to address an issue that this exercise teaches you. So every pigment, every color has a different weight. The actual molecules or the ingredients inside the paint has different weights. And sometimes what will happen is you will put a specific color down, like in this case, the cyan blue. And no matter how hard you try to focus on mixing the color on the gel plate, you'll sometimes get left with little drops of pigment left in there that just didn't get mixed. What this exercise teaches you is one, how to keep mixing on your gel plate with your brayer so that you break down all of those little bubbles of color. Now, that's what I did here. I was able to finally get all of the cyan blue little pigment speckles, let's just call them, to even out so that when I pulled this print, it was purely a solid color. Now, I'm going to show you right now how I mix these colors. I take the brayer and I move it around in circular motions, and I keep doing that and I keep doing that until it's all broken down and I can roll it out like this. All right. So if you just roll back and forth with your pigments and your color mixing, you're going to get these circular patterns. And that's just the pressure of the brayer um, making your paint turn into sort of an oblong shape. When you do that circular motion, it totally blends the color, and you just do it as long as you need to until the color is all broken down. Now look how gorgeous this page is turning out. I love this. Now, this book has the text in it, right? And I love that because sometimes you want a text element in your collages, right? So by doing these solid color paintings, I'm going to show you that in a minute, but doing these paintings inside a book that has text or on pieces of paper that have text gives you an opportunity for that solid color look, but with some text elements showing up. Pretty cool. Now, this here is for you if you don't have a gel plate yet, or if you still haven't used your gel plate yet and are not comfortable using it. I really hope after the first part of this video that you are comfortable using it now. But this is another way. Right now I'm just using the gel plate as a palette, and I'm mixing the primary magenta with some of that pyrrole orange. And I am brushing on the colors because creating these solid color papers using a brush is perfectly legitimate, right? I do it all the time, and very frankly, it's so relaxing and meditative that I'll tell you, if you're not having a good day, this is a great exercise to do because you don't have to think about anything. It all works out beautifully and it becomes infinitely useful for you later on. So here I'm taking that primary magenta, some of the pyrrole orange, and now I've added some of the Titan buff to make shades of pink, right? So I don't know when I'll ever use this pink. Maybe I will never use the pink. But what I do know is I have it on hand if I do need it. That one got away from me a little. And the other thing about this is you don't have to paint everything perfectly. Like, you don't have to have perfect lines or you can just cross over and just get the paint down. When it dries, it'll look just fine. And the truth about using these papers in collage, in any given collage, you're actually using very little of the paper. So it will last you a very long time, but it's also a genius way for you, especially when you get new colors in your inventory, to use them, to play with them, to see how they work. Here are all the papers I did today, and like I said, I sped up through some of them so that we could get through this in a short period of time. But all of these papers I think are beautiful, and they work beautifully together, and I think that was because of the consistency of using the Titan buff in these formulations. Now here's the book where I rolled on the color, and I can use this page for collage, or and here's a great tip, I can use this book as a color book. So for those of you who are always asking, what do I do with all these papers? I have no space for all these papers. Start painting, start doing your gel printing inside of books, right? You already have the books. They're already taking up space on your shelf. When you do this, you have the benefit of creating papers for your art practice, and you have a contained unit for them. I'm telling you, this is the tip of the century, and it's very likely I'm going to start doing this more and more. Now, there is an artist that I know of whose name is escaping me, and I feel very badly about that. So if you know the artist, please put her name in the comments below. But she makes painted papers like these, and instead of putting them in a clip like I'm doing here, the clip has a loop, right? So I can put it up on the wall. Instead of doing that, she actually puts nails in her wall, and she just literally takes the paper and jams it on the nail, and she separates them out by color. And so when she's working in her collage, she all she has to do is look up from her workspace and see all of those glorious papers. I have a wall in my studio that you never get to see because I never film from that side of the video, but that's changing soon, where I have all of these painted papers on the wall, and it's beautiful, and it makes me feel inspired almost every single day. Now, this one print didn't work. It was so hot in the house, and it didn't pull well. That's okay. I'm not going to cry about it. Neither should you. Some days we just have bad days on the gel plate. Other days are just brilliant. I'm calling this a brilliant day. I really hope you give yourself the opportunity to explore your colors, explore your gel plate using this exercise. I can't overemphasize how important it is. Thank you so much for being here. This is what I would watch next.